data import wizard. What is the concept? Import wizard. So using the import wizard, we can work with a larger amount of data. Using import wizard, we can work with a larger amount of data. Let us see how it is done. I have a Excel file I am creating. What are the objects I have? Let me go with this. Employees. Okay. Name, phone, city, rating. I have some data like this. So I have let us assume we have Excel sheet like this, which have 10,000 records, or which have 5,000 records. Save this. Save as. CSV, comma delimited. What is that file? CSV. Saving this Excel sheet as what? CSV. Saving this file as CSV file. Then go back to this. Setup. Administer. Data management. Setup. Administer. Data management. We have import wizard, data, import wizard, launch wizard, standard objects, custom objects, custom object, choose the object. You want to add a new record, update the existing record, upset. Upset means if record is already there, update, not there, create. So what we have? Insert, update, upset. Insert. If record is not there, okay, insert. Insert a new record. Update. Modify the existing record. Upset. Upset means update plus insert. If record is already there, update, not there, create. Upset. Record is not there, create it. Record is there, update it. Now what I'm doing? Add new record. Then, do you want to define any record owner? I don't want to define anybody with record owner. Go with a CSV file. Choose the file. Mobile. Employee name mapped with name. Rating mapped with rating. Mobile I give. The CSV file I give mobile. Mobile should be mapped with the phone number. Place should be mapped with the city. Next. I hope you are good with this. Now the data is inserted. Go back to the object and see. Right, boss? You are able to see data was inserted successfully. This is how the data was inserted. Right. Now, what did I do? Once again, I'll do it. Setup, build, setup, administer, data management, import wizard, launch wizard, custom object, employee, new records, choose CSV, choose the file. Okay. Now, do you want to check the duplicates? You want to check the duplicate? Now, I want to say, boss, if duplicate data is there, don't accept. Match by name. Choose. Next. Map it. What is this mapping? Mapping the fields. In your Excel sheet, you have different name. In the table, we have different name. This field in the Excel sheet should be saved to this field in the table. That mapping we are doing. Sorry. No. Records field 1. Right. Go back. Employee. Now look at this. Only why the extra set is not done? I told map by name. Already these names are existing in the database. So what happened? Duplicates are not inserted. While inserting, if you want to avoid the duplicate, they told map by. While inserting the data, if you want to avoid duplicate, they told map by. So when you say match by name, if that name is already existing, record will not be inserted. So what was this import wizard? Using this, we can upload the data. Up to how many records we can upload? 50,000 records we can upload. Using the import wizard, how many records we can upload? 50,000 records. Then what is the problem with this import wizard? Import wizard is not used for every object. It will support every custom object. Import wizard will support every custom object. Import wizard will support every custom object, and it only supports standard objects account, contact, lead, solution. What are the standard objects it is going to support? Look at this. Setup, administer, data management, import wizard, launch wizard. So what we have here? Account, contact, lead, solution, campaign member. Only these 5 objects are supported by the import wizard. Import wizard only supports 5 standard objects. Import wizard only supports 5 standard objects. Up to how many records we can upload? 50,000 records. And what are the operation I can perform? I can perform insert, update, upset. If you want to insert, no need of any. Okay, simply give the data, it will be inserted. When you want to update, you have to tell on what basis you want to update. When you want to update, you have to tell based on what you want to update. Now, how do I know which record you are updating? So, if you want to update, it is mandatory that you have to provide Salesforce record ID. If you provide the record ID, based on that ID, I will identify the record and I will update. So, it is mandatory that you have to provide Salesforce record ID for updating the record. If you want to update the record, it is mandatory that you have to provide Salesforce record ID. I hope you are good with this. So if you want to update any record, it is mandatory that we have to provide Salesforce record ID. I hope you are clear with this. Right. Fine, boss. Let us go to the next concept. Now, my requirement is I don't want to update 50,000. I want to update 5 lakh records. Then what will you do? Then this import wizard will not work for you. I want to insert users. Import wizard will not work for you. I want to insert opportunities. Import wizard will not work for you. Are you getting my point? So if you want to work with a larger amount of record, import wizard will not work for you. Then what is the solution you have? Then we have data loader. What is the solution we have? Data loader. What is this data loader? Data loader is a ETL, data loader permission. Data loader. Okay. Now, what was this data loader? Data loader is a hard copies are given. Okay. Now, what is a data loader? Data loader is a ETL tool. Data loader is a ETL tool. Extract, transform, load. Data loader is a ETL tool given by the Salesforce. Data loader is a ETL tool given by the Salesforce. Using this data loader, we can work with 5 million records at a time. Using the data loader, up to how many records we can work? 5 million records. Using data loader, I can work with 5 million records at a time. So data loader will support up to 5 million records. What type of operations we can perform using data loader? Insert, update, delete, upset, export, export out. What type of operation we can perform? Insert, update, okay, upset, delete, export, export all. These are the operations. Up to how many records? 5 million. Now let us understand how to install this data loader, how to download this data loader, how to install, how to log in, how to start working. Okay. Now look at this. If you want to go for a data loader, first how to download it. Setup, administer, data management, data download data loader for Windows or Mac. Setup, administer, data management, data loader for Windows. Download. When you click on download, this file will be downloaded. There is a file we are finding. This is the file. So you'll be finding this. You'll be finding this. Now you are able to see this one. You're finding here data loader. This data loader, this data loader, this data loader will be finding here. This data loader will be finding. The moment I click on that, this file will be downloaded. When I click on this downloader, okay, this file will be downloaded. When I click on this file will be downloaded. When I click on this file will be downloaded. What is this? Apex data loader. This is the file what we are going to get. Now that is a exe file. What type of file is this? Exe file. That is a exe file. Okay, there is a exe file. Once you got a exe file, what you are supposed to do? Exe means just click next. It is exe. Just click next. It will be installed. So download the data loader. How are you downloading? Setup, build, setup, build. How are you downloading? Setup, okay, setup, administer, data management, data loader. setup, administer, data management, data loader. Now it is asking data manager for okay, Windows or Mac. I told download the data loader for Windows. Now you got the file. It is a exe file. Once you got the exe file, what I'm doing? Once you got the exe file, what I was supposed to do? Click on next. It will be installed. Once it is installed, just 1 minute. I'll get some extra objects. We have some data here. I'll import it. Okay. Now you have seen how to download, how to install. Once you install it, then I have to log in. How can I log in? Once you install, how can you log in? If a user want to log in, how the user can log in? Now look at this. Once the data load is installed, you will be finding like this. This is the file what we are going to get. This is the ETL tool what we got. This is the ETL tool what I received. Once the file is received, then what I was supposed to do? Insert the data, update the data, observe the data, delete, export out. What I was supposed to do? Insert, update, delete, export out. Now when you want to go with this, primary thing what I want to do is, what is the primary thing that you want to do? There are two ways of logging into data loader. One is insert OAuth password authentication. When you ask OAuth or password authentication, I told OAuth. When I say OAuth, it is asking production or sandbox. I told production. Login. It is asking your username, password. Login. Generally, it sends a verification code to your mail ID. Because already logged in, it's not asking a verification code. Otherwise, it will send a verification to your mail ID. You need to go to mail ID and enter the OTP. It will send a OTP. Go to mail ID and enter the OTP. Login successfully. Next. We can insert the data. This is one of the way. What is the process we followed? What is the process I followed? What is the process? Insert OAuth or password. I have selected OAuth. Enter the username, password. OTP is coming. In case if it is not OpenAP. In case if it is not OpenAP. Now to make this account open for everyone, I give IP address 0 to 255. Straight away you can log in. Okay. I hope you are good with this. Enter the username, password, you will log in. Okay. Second one is password authentication. Now when I say password authentication, what I will do? Look at this. Username. What was that? My settings. Personal. Look at this. Are you getting any option called reset security token? No. Why you are not getting? Because I gave the IP address as open for everyone. I told everybody can access. That is the reason you are not getting. So what should I do? Go to the profile. Generally, it is not open for everyone. I want you to access the material, so I give OpenAP for everyone. Now I am removing this. If I remove this, username, my settings, personal, are you able to see security token? Reset security. Why you are able to see? I removed that OpenAP. Then when I click on this, your token is sent to your email ID. Boss, Did you people any CSC students here? CSC or EC, even you have CN, right? Okay. We have some algorithm called triple DS algorithm with RSA key. Okay. Without, okay, by hearting, if you have prepared those things, the same topic we are writing here. What was that? What was that? You have your password, you have your security RSA key. Both are used to encrypt the data and send it securely. Now we have your password. If I am sending my password to you, there is a possibility of hacking it. So what I want to do, I want to encrypt it securely and I want to send, because we are giving this data to some system which is not on the Salesforce. Now from Salesforce, we want to get the data and give to the your on-premise. Data is coming to your system. Now I want this communication to be secure. So what the people are doing? They are giving one security key. Look at this. This key they are giving. Now using this key, we will encrypt your password. How will you encrypt? Look at the point. What is the username? admin@314.com. Password Salesforce 123. Followed by the token what we receive. Password followed by token what we receive. Password followed by token what we receive. It's a common problem. admin@314.com. Password. Your token. Any extra spaces are also issue here. Now it was login successful. Right? So in how many ways we can make it? There are two ways. What is the first way? First way is enter the username, password, authentication. First one is authentication. When I say authentication, right? What was that? First one is authentication. When you say authentication, enter your username, password. Enter your username, password. Second one is password authentication. Username, password plus security token. When was this? If your IP address is not open. Now I remove the open IP address, right? That's why it is asking your security token. Suppose if I go to administrator, setup, system administrator. Okay. Now, if I give this, it will not ask any. It will not ask any verification token. Why? Because you will not get that option itself. You will not get that option. When will you get the option to reset the token? Only when it is open. First time when you saw that reset was not available. Are you getting my point? In case if your IP address is not whitelisted, then we need to go for username, password plus security token. If your IP address is whitelisted, what does it mean? Boss, I believe the system is secured. No need of any extra token. Directly allow the user to log in with the username and password. If I believe this system is valid system, I know this system don't require any security token, then what I will do? Whitelisted. That's what is the network access. In the network access, we are done. IP ranges, network access we give, right? Company level. What is that? If I give the IP address at the company level, no need of any verification token, because I know this system is a valid system. I hope you are good. People followed this. Clear for everyone? Okay. Now this is how we created. Okay. Now login is done. Once the login is done, I want to insert the data. How will you insert the data? Login is done. Now I want to insert the data. Let us see, I have an application here. I have installed one thick application here. This is my application. Are you able to see any data in this? No. I have an object called funds. Do you have any data here? Let us see. All records, no data. I have sectors. There is no data. Right? Now what I want to do, I want to upload some funds. It's a mutual fund application. I want to upload some fund. Name of the fund, category of the fund. I just want to upload it. How will you do that? Go to data loader. Password authentication. Now I am giving only password. I am giving. I am not giving secret token. Now it is not asking secret token because I gave 0 to 255. Okay. Now what do you want to insert? Fund. What is the object we have? Fund. Choose the file. Already I have CSV file with the data called fund. So I have used this object for lightning classes. I have created some objects for lightning. So fund. Now when you go for a fund, how many records are there? 500 records are there. Okay. Now look at this. These are the fields what we are finding in the fund. In the fund Excel sheet, in the CSV file of fund, we are finding this. What was that? Name, abbreviation, rating, asset class, sector, YT, okay, YTD return, okay. Nice. 1 year return, 2 year return, right, boss? We have some fields. These are the fields. Now these fields has to be inserted into fields in the Salesforce. In the Salesforce, we have an object called fund. In the fund object, there are fields. I have to insert this. So what I'm doing? Then I'm going for auto match fields to columns. Now what happened? Auto match means the fields are mapped. This field in the CSV is mapped with this field. In case if any field is not mapping, any field is not matching, select the field, drag and drop, make it. First you try with auto map. If it is mapping, okay. Anything is not mapping, we are going to manually do it. Okay. Okay. Next. Finish. Now what will happen? Choose the location. Now when you are loading, some of them will be success, some of them will be failure. Choose the location where you want to map. Find errors. What was the error here? Incorrect type 33. What was that 33? ID value for the sector type. Okay. First, let me go with sectors then. Go to this, insert sector, choose the file, sectors. Okay. Then auto map. Sector name. Sector ID. Mapped it. Next. '41 successfully inserted. So go back to the object, sectors. These are the data what we received. Right? What will you do? We uploaded this data into this object. Okay. Now go back to this. Insert, fund, browse. Next, auto map. Okay. Next, there is some bug here. They're expecting some value. So what was the? Okay. Let me insert from here. Otherwise, there are failure here because they're expecting some relation between these two objects. So what I will do? Let me do it from here. Setup. Import wizard. Okay. Now, actually, go to this, launch import wizard, custom objects. We had funds, new record. This is what they're expecting. There is a reason it was filling twice. Okay. Now look at this, everyone. I'm going to this. Previously there is no data, right? Now we are going for now. Go to this. We had records here. We had records here. What did we do? We inserted the data. Are you getting my point here? Now let us go back. Now what you are finding in the Lightning? Instead of going to import wizard, straight away on the object you are finding an option called import. When I click on the import, it is taking you to what? Import wizard. Okay, fine. Let us go to data loader once again. Now I want to insert. Insert. Which object I want to choose? Employee. Browse the file. Where is my employee file? In the desktop, data loader. I got employee. Open. Next. Now create or edit mapping. Auto map. There is only one field which is mapped. What about the remaining fields? Look at this. Name mapped with name. Phone mapped with mobile. So you need to manually map it. If they are not mapping, you are supposed to map it manually. If they are not mapping, you are supposed to map them manually. Next. Finish. 4 records are inserted successfully. Are you getting my point? So what we are doing? Insert. Select the object. Choose the file. Next. Map the fields. Whatever is not mapping, map it manually. So we have place. Next. Finish. Right, boss? I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? This is for insert operation. Now, while inserting the data, if any validation rule fail, what will happen? It will fail. While inserting the data, all the workflow rules will run, all the validation rules will run. So if you insert the record normally, whatever the operation that happen, same thing will happen here. So while inserting the data, if required fields are missing, it will throw error message. If the validation rule fail, it will throw error message. If the validation rule fail, it will throw error message. If a workflow rule, if any workflow rules are there, automatically they will be fine. So the way you insert the normal record, the same way this operation will run. So while inserting the data, required fields failed, it will fail. Validation rule failed, it will fail. Required field failed, it will fail. Validation rule failed, it will fail. Any workflow rules are there, they will find. Now next, is this data loader is atomic or non-atomic? Atomic means what? If any one of the record fail, entire operation will fail. Non-atomic means if any one of the record fail, only that record will fail, rest of the operation will continue. So data loader is atomic or non-atomic? Data loader is atomic or non-atomic. It is non-atomic. That means if any one of the record fail, only that record will fail, rest of the records will continue. So data loader is what? Atomic or non-atomic? Non-atomic. If any one of the record fail, only that record will fail, rest of the operation will continue. How many records we can insert? 5 million records. Now, when you say 5 million records, all the 5 million records will run at a time? No, boss. When you are inserting a 5 million record, it will break them into set 200, 200, 200, and they will run. Now, how they will run? Look at this. Now, let us see if I have inserting 1000 records. What it will do, it will break them. Let us say it will divide into number of batches. It will break them. Now the question is, you broke them like this, very good, but how they are going to run? Are they going to run like this? First 200 completed, second 200 completed, third 200. Are they going to run like this? Let first batch be completed, then go to second batch, then third batch, then fourth batch. This is called synchronous operation. Even though you broke first 200 completed, go to second 200, go to third 100, go to fourth. This is synchronous. Asynchronous means what? Asynchronous means what? All of them will run at a time. All of them will run at a time. So what is happening? All the 5 are running at a time. So in the database, what will be happening? 1 is inserted, 201 is inserted, 2 is inserted, 301 is inserted, 401 is inserted. Okay, 4 is inserted, 8. So can you guarantee in which order records are getting inserted? No. Why? All the 5 are running at a time. So records will not be inserted like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Randomly they will be inserted because all the 5 are running at a time. So in the Excel sheet, if I give 1000, all the 1000 records will not be inserted in the same order what you gave. They will be running parallelly. So data loader is asynchronous or synchronous? It is asynchronous. Atomic or non-atomic? Non-atomic. How many records you can go? 5000. Now we are breaking the records, right? Now what is the size? If you don't mention any size, it is a 200. Look at this settings. What is the size? 200. But if you want, you can increase up to 2000. Anything between 1 to 2000 you can give. The size can be anything between 1 to 2000. The size of the data loader can be anything between 1 to 2000. You can increase or decrease. If you don't mention, it will be 200. Okay. So you are going with a data loader insert. If you are trying to insert, required field should be entered. Required field should be entered. Validation rule should be obeyed. If there are any workflow rules, they will be running. If there are any triggers, they will also run. Programmatical triggers. Okay, boss. I hope you are good. And insertion is running on non-atomic in the asynchronous format. I hope you are good with this. People followed? People followed? Clear? Okay. Now, let us look at the next example here. Now, I want to go for a loan. Are there any validations on this loan? No validation. Okay. Loan. But the problem with the loan is there is a master detail field here. I want to insert the data into loan object, but the problem here is there is a master detail field here. When there is a master detail field, I was supposed to enter the data in this field. But okay, if I am inserting the data, if there is any lookup field or a master detail field, what will be saved in the field? Master detail field or a lookup field, what type of value will be there in this field? ID of the record will be there. Master detail or a lookup field will have what? ID of the record. It will have ID of the record. Education, salary, applied amount. Okay. So let us see this. Applied amount. Property type. I'll say email, phone number. Few fields only I will take. Right. This is how we got. Now, if you are going for a master detail, now look at the point. If you want to create data, now if there is any master detail field or lookup field, we are supposed to pass what? ID of the master record. We are supposed to pass ID of the master record. Boss, if there is any lookup field or a master detail field, which data you are supposed to pass? ID of the master record. Now in the column, I kept ID of the master record. Go back again. Insert loan. Choose the object. Next, 3 records. Applied amount. Type, where we had loan type. So look at this. Customer. What we are giving? ID. In case if you are providing any master detail, field or a lookup field, what we are supposed to pass? ID of the record. What we are supposed to pass, boss? ID of the record. Go to the customer. Just now I created. Where is the customer? Zero zero one. Sorry. This is what we have inserted the data. I hope you are good with this. One. Right.
Satish, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, if we are inserting like large number of the records, like millions of records, how can we know for each record the ID?
Apply. If there is a large data, then what you are supposed to do? You have to perform Excel sheet. VLOOKUP functionality will be there in Excel sheet. First, download one Excel sheet with the customer name and customer ID. Download another Excel sheet. In the another Excel sheet of your loan, enter the customer name. You know customer name. Customer ID you will not be knowing, but customer name you have. Now, based on this customer, get the customer ID from another Excel sheet. So in the Excel sheet, okay, you have a functionality called VLOOKUP. Okay, you can merge 2 Excel sheets, join the data from 2 Excel sheets. Okay, there's a concept called VLOOKUP on Excel. Just try on the YouTube, will be finding it. On the Excel sheet, you'll be finding a concept called VLOOKUP. So what you can do, get one Excel sheet with the customer ID and customer name. In the second one, in the loan record, don't enter the customer ID, enter the customer name. When you enter the customer name, based on the customer name, it will fetch the ID from another Excel sheet. By using what functionality? VLOOKUP. You can just type a VLOOKUP on Excel sheet, you will get it. Did you get my point? Because it's a 3 record, I manually entered it. If it is a huge amount of data, you need to go for Excel sheet. In the Excel sheet, we have a functionality called VLOOKUP. Excel sheet VLOOKUP. You can open MS Office Excel sheet and check for VLOOKUP. Okay, you can check for the VLOOKUP functionality. Right. So what was this? This is inserting the data into the object. I hope you are good with this. People are good. Okay. Then what is the next operation we have? Update. I want to update. If you want to update the data, I want to update the data. So when can you perform an update? When can you perform an update? Only when the record is successfully inserted, I can perform update. Boss, if you want to perform an update, how does I know? If you want to perform an update, now let us see this. Look at this. This is the data what we have. Okay. Now what I am doing in the fund object, go to the fund object. In the fund object, I am creating one extra field. Fund, I will go to sector. Now I have this. Now I want to update the data. So what I am doing? Log out. Update the data. Why did I log out? You made some changes on the database. If you want those changes to be applied, I logged out and re-logged in so that the changes will be applied on the data loader also. Now go back. What is the operation? Which object you want to take? Now sector. Now you want to update the sector. Now in the sector, what I am doing? Look at this. Okay. Now go to this, browse the file. Browse the file. Now we had a desktop, data loader, oops, sector, open. Okay. Now create a map. What was this? Sector name. Mapped it. Next. So if you want to update, what is the mandatory thing? You are supposed to provide ID. You are supposed to provide ID. If you look at this sheet, this is the sheet what I uploaded. In this sheet, what did I choose this? We have, if we have account ID, if you have record ID, based on this ID, we can update. So whenever you want to perform any update, it is a must. It is a must that you have to provide record ID. Only when you provide the record ID, we will be able to perform update operation. When can I perform update? Only when you provide record ID. Otherwise, I cannot recognize the record. So what is happening was, you have Excel sheet with the data. You upload that Excel sheet, map the fields, operation is performed. Are you getting? Now I want to do the next one. What is the next one? I want to delete it. On what basis you are going to delete? You want to delete, okay. How do I know which record I am deleting? Click on delete. Then I have sector. Browse. Again, if you want to delete, it is a must that you have to provide record ID. Only when you provide a record ID, it will be deleted. Next. Records are right. When you delete the records, where are those records? Records will be in recycle bin. When you delete the records, still the records are in recycle bin. Records are in recycle bin. Now, when you delete the records will be not permanently deleted, they are in recycle bin. I hope you are good with this. So if you want to perform update or delete, what is happening? It is a must that you have to provide Salesforce record ID. It is a must that you have to provide Salesforce record ID. I hope you are getting my point. Clear? Okay. Now let us see the next one. Setup. Create objects. Here I am creating one more field. Text or number. Sector ready. Edit. Look at this, boss. What did I enable? External ID. What did I enable? External ID. What was this external ID? If you are uploading the data from third party, if the data is already existing, update it. When you say data is already existing, on what basis you are saying data is existing? You say data is existing. Okay, very good. On what basis you are saying data is existing? You say data is existing. On what basis you are saying data is existing? Are you getting my point? When I am uploading the data, I am saying if data already exists, update. On what basis you are going to come to a conclusion that this data is already existing? Now look at this. A quick point. Suppose this is a Salesforce application. In the Salesforce, already there is a record. This is the data what we have. Now, from Salesforce, you are sending the data to SAP application. This is a Salesforce. Who is sending the data first? First, who is sending the data? Salesforce sending the data to SAP. In SAP, they have their own data. SAP ID, record ID. When you are sending this data, in SAP they are saving like SAP 01, name of the company. Both the tables may have same names, may not have same names. Like this. So first the Salesforce people send the data to SAP. Now when they send the data to SAP, now the Salesforce record ID is also available in SAP. Now in SAP what the people are doing? They are creating some more new records. When you create a record in the SAP, Salesforce record ID will not come. Am I right? When I create a record in the SAP, Salesforce ID will not come. Now next. Then they modified some of the existing records here. Now SAP is sending this data back to. Now what happened? I am saying when they are sending, boss, upset the data based on Salesforce record ID. If record ID is already there, update that record. If record ID is not there, create. Are you getting? If the Salesforce ID is already there, what does it mean? Record is already there in the database, update it. If record ID is not there, it is a new record, create it. Right? But this will be available. Did you get my concept? First Salesforce people have sent, we got an ID. Then this SAP, we created some more data, modified existing data. We are sending this data back to Salesforce. If the data is already there in Salesforce, yes, based on ID we are telling it. Not there, create, there update. How this is possible? If Salesforce send you the data first, then SAP is sending the data next. Both of you are exchanging. First Salesforce is giving you, then you are giving me. Right? Am I clear? But this is a two-way communication. But according to my requirement, only one-way communication. It is only one-way communication. Only SAP will send the data to Salesforce. Only if SAP is sending the data to Salesforce, then we will not be knowing the Salesforce ID, because SAP never took the data from Salesforce. The data which is there in SAP, the data I am sending to Salesforce. SAP people never know Salesforce ID. Then when you are sending this data, on what basis you will say record exists or not exist? Are you getting my point? On what basis you are saying the record exists or doesn't exist? If Salesforce is giving you, then you are modifying, adding extra records, sending back. I can say Salesforce record ID exists, update, doesn't exist, create. But in this case, only SAP is sending it. Then what I am doing? I am creating one extra field in Salesforce. I am creating extra field called SAP ID. Now I am making this field as what? External ID. The moment I say external ID, when the data is coming from external system, based on this field, compare whether record exists or not exists. So here we had so when you send the data, these two records are already existing. So what I should do? Update this data as these two records doesn't exist. So create these two records. Create these two records. Are you getting my point? So you made one field as what? External ID field. Data type of this field can be, data type of this field can be, data type of this field can be number, text, email. Which type of field we can define as external ID? Number field, text field, email field. Only these three category of fields I can define as external ID. What category? Number, text, email. Only number field, text field, email fields I can define as external ID. Yes. Exactly. Now SAP is sending, when the data is coming from that, now if the ID is already there, it will update, otherwise it will not. Okay. It is not necessary that it should have external ID. But if the data is coming from the system, that should not have duplicate ID. Okay, boss. Okay. I hope you got my point. See, when you are Judge people are sending a phone number to me, boss, that the student has made an inquiry for Salesforce. Now you might have made a call to Judge. You might have made a call to you might have made a call to Captain Info Solution directly. You made a call to Captain Info Solution. They enter your data. Okay. You made a call to Judge people also sent a inquiry to me. Now you also came to Captain Info Solution for working. Right? Then will I make you 3 entries? Now because Judge people sent, I may have to make 1 entry. You made a call, I have to be a 2nd entry. You directly came back, 3rd entry. You came to demo also, 4th entry. Now I should have what? 4 inquiries. My people have to call you 4 times. Is it? No, I should not do it, right? So what happened? On some factors, I have to identify uniqueness. So what we told? Phone number is unique. Boss, if this phone number is already there, okay, do not create one more time. Just update the remaining data which is missing. So we have student name, first name, last name, email, qualification, all this data. Now, when you made a phone call, you might have told your qualification, first name, last name. When you made an inquiry to Judge, you might have given email ID and phone number. So whatever the data that is missing, I will update it. Are you getting? Right? So on what basis you are identifying the uniqueness? Phone number I have taken. Similarly, when the data is coming from external system, on what basis you are saying it is a duplicate data? So based on particular field, we have to compare. That field is called external ID field. Which type of field I can define as external ID? Number, text, and email. So how do you make external ID? Simply make one checkbox will be there. What is that? It's a number field. Data type is what? Text field. I selected as text line. I hope you're good. Clear? People got it? People got this, boss? Any query from your end? Everyone is good with this concept? So what was this concept? Basically, upset. This concept is what? Upset. Now let me show you this example. So I'm uploading the same data. I have defined sector ID as now first let me insert this data. Insert sector. Now there are 20 records created and already we have IDs called 1 to 90. 1 to 19 IDs are already inserted into database. Now what I'm doing, I'm modifying. I modified some of the records. I'm giving extra IDs here, 20. So 20, 21, 22 not there, I created new. 23 I created. I am giving twice. So what happened? 1, 2, 3 already existing, I modified. 21, 20, 21, 22 not existing, I created. 23 not existing, but I gave 2 entries on 23. So if duplicates are there, what will happen? If duplicates are not there, what will happen? Right. If already ID is existing, what will happen? ID is not existing, what will happen? If we give duplicate IDs, what will happen? If we give duplicate IDs, what will happen? So three points I am covering. Upset. Then I'm going for sector. Choose the file. Next, 25 records. They're asking on what basis? Based on ID or based on Xline? Based on Salesforce ID or based on Xline? I told based on Xline. What happened? 23 is successful, 2 errors. In the successful, what happened? Why these 23 records are updated? Now look at this. These records are updated. 1, 2, 3 updated. Now look at this 3. 20, 21, 23. What happened to this 3? Item created, item created, item created. If external ID is not there, created. If already existing, updated. There are 2 errors. What are they? 23, 23 error. You cannot give duplicate IDs in the Excel sheet. Right, boss? What was this concept called? Upset. For upsetting, what we require? Either we require Salesforce ID or Salesforce ID or Salesforce external ID. I hope you are good with this. People are good with this. Clear for everyone? Clear? Clear, boss? Insert, update, upset, delete. For update and delete, what is required? ID. For upset, what is required? ID or external ID. Which field can be external ID? Which field can be external ID? Okay, which field can be external ID? Number field, text field, email field. Number, text, email. Number, text, email. I hope you are good. Okay. Let us go ahead with the next one. So, let us go to the next concept here. We are going with export. Export. When you say export, we are getting the data from Salesforce to your desktop. We are getting the data from Salesforce to your system. Now they are asking, which object you want to export? I want to export sector. Where you want to export? I told I want to export onto desktop. We are exporting the data. Then next, which fields you want to export? Select the ID of the record, name, sector ID. Now we have a choice. Which fields you want to export? You can also apply a condition where section ID not equals to right. I can apply the condition. Now I can apply my conditions here. I can apply my condition. It's your choice. We have a choice to select which fields you want. You have a choice to give. We have a choice to give which condition you want to apply. We have a condition to select the fields. We have a choice to select the fields. We have a choice to give the condition. I can select whatever the fields I want. I can give whatever the condition I want. Then click on finish. When you click on finish, how many records are coming? 23 records. So the data which was there in the Salesforce that was brought to your system. Now in your data loader, now we got extract. Whatever the data that was there, that was extracted. 22 records, 23. Okay. Now we have one more choice. What was that? Export all. Click on this. Select this sector. Next. How many records previously came? 23 records. How many records came? 64. Now 64. Why 64 came now? Now, if you go to fund, how many records are there in the fund? There are only 23 records. In the fund object, there are only 23 records. But how is the 64 records came now? In the sector. In the sector, total how many records are there? 23 only there. But how did you get? Previously I inserted 41 records. I deleted. Right? They will be there in the database for how long? 15 days. They will be there in database for how long? 15 days. I deleted. They are still in the database for 15 days. When you say export all, the records which you deleted also will come back. You deleted them. They are in database, but not in the active mode. When you say export all, the records which you deleted also will come. Export means records which are active. Export all means records which are active, which are inactive. There is a difference between export and export all. I hope you are good. So insert, update, upset, and delete, export, export all. How many records it will support? 5 million records. Is it atomic or non-atomic? Is it synchronous or asynchronous? Are the validation rules are verified? All the required fields are verified? Right? While inserting any lookup field or a master detail field, what should I give? ID of the parent record. If you have a bulk record, somebody has asked me, if you have a bulk records, what should I do? Use VLOOKUP on Excel sheet. Okay. When you want to perform update, what is the operation I have to do? I have to provide ID of the record. If you want to perform upset, what does it mean? Existing update, not existing create. Based on what? External ID and ID. Which field can be external ID? Text, number, email. Then delete. What should I provide? ID of the record I have to provide. Then what is the difference between export and export all? Export will only export the data which is not deleted. Export all will give you data which is deleted and not deleted. Which is deleted and not deleted. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Let us go to the next one. Let us go to the next one. Now, what is the size of the data loader? What is the size of the data loader? Like 200 records per batch. Maximum 2000, minimum 1. While inserting, I may not insert all the fields. I may insert only some of the fields. What about the remaining fields? Now, there are a lot of fields are there. I have only few fields which I am inserting. What about the remaining fields which you are not inserting? It is not necessary that I enter every time all the data, right? If you don't insert, what will happen? What we have? Insert null values. Using this, we can specify whichever the data I am not entering, there you give nulls. Now, when you are entering the data, generally the Salesforce date will be taken as year, month, day. While entering the data, Salesforce will be taking the date in the form of year, month, day. But in the Excel sheet when I am entering, it will take in the form of day, month, year. Is European format. Then if you want to enter the data in the form of day, month, year, I have to enable this. I have to use European format. Otherwise, I have to give date in the form of what? Year, month, day. Next. Now, while entering the data, in the Salesforce, he gave passport, like name, 10 characters. But in the Excel sheet, I gave 20 characters. What will happen? There is an issue. The size is overloaded. The Salesforce accepts only 10 characters now, but you are giving 20 characters. Then what happened? Truncation. Apply truncation. In case if there is any limit crossing, you can go for what? Allow field truncation. Now, while you are inserting the data on whose, while inserting the data, in whose time zone the data will be inserted? In whose time zone it is inserted? Now let us see. My organization is in EST. I am uploading the data from IST. Now, if the data is taken as EST, there is a mismatch. Your organization is EST. I am uploading the data from India. If it considered my time zone as EST, then the data also will be taken as EST. There is a mismatch in the day. One day may be extra or less. Now, while uploading the data, whoever is the user who is logged in, according to his time zone, data will be uploaded. See, boss, time is fixed. If I say I am uploading as IST, the IST or today, right now, is considered as EST. So, time will not be mismatching. When it will be mismatched, if I am uploading from India, and if I say time zone is EST, then it will mismatch. If I upload as IST, I am uploading from India, I am uploading as IST, there is no mismatch in the timing. So, the person who logged in according to his time zone, data will be uploaded. Person who logged in according to his time zone, data will be uploaded. I hope you are good with this. So, what is the size? 200. Minimum 1. Maximum 2000. Data what you are not inserted, that I can make it as insert null value. Field truncation, time zone, date format. Don't touch any other things in this. I hope you are good with this. I hope you are good. What we are saying? Insert null values, time zone, date format. Insert null values, time zone, date format. Insert null values, time zone, date format. Click. Don't touch any other things. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Now, let us make a comparison between data loader and import wizard. Using import wizard also I uploaded the data. Using data loader also I am importing the data. What is the major difference here? First, Data loader. Data loader 50,000 records. Sorry, 5 million records. Import wizard 50,000 records. Data loader will support lead, account, contact, opportunity, all custom objects. Import wizard will support contact, campaign number is there, but general we don't insert it. Okay. All custom. This is the major difference. Import wizard 50,000, only those standard objects and all custom. Data loader 5 million, all these standard objects, all custom. Including users, we can insert. This is the major difference. Next, import wizard, we can check for duplicates. Now, I can say match based on first name or insert. So, if I give 2 Satish, it will avoid 1. But in the data loader, if I give Satish, it will insert twice. So, you cannot check for a duplicate in import wizard, in the data loader. In the import wizard, we can check. I have done one example. Right. In the import wizard, we can check a duplicate, whereas in the data loader, we cannot check duplicates. I hope you are good with this. Clear? What is the purpose of these two? To work with the bulk data. Okay. Then again, here we have export. What is that export? I can export the data. Now, which fields I can export? I can say following fields, name, phone number, email can be exported, which are created today, which are created last month. I have a choice to choose which fields I want, which data I want. We have here export wizard. What is this export wizard? Data export. When you say export wizard, export now. Simply select the object, say export. It is not giving you choice which data I want. I want only phone numbers, boss. I want customer name and phone number. Then why are you giving all 200 fields to me? I want only the records which are created today. Why are you giving all 1 lakh records? Export is used for what? Backing up the data. Entire data, if you want to back up, I can go with the data export. But specific data you want to export, then I have to go for data loader. I hope you are good, right? So import wizard and a data loader. But import wizard, what is the advantage? See, now I am a staff of the company. I am a sales manager. I know how to upload Excel sheet in the import wizard. I simply say import wizard, choose object, I can upload. But if you go to see, you are a sales executive, if I ask you to install data loader and upload, you will not find the part because you are not a technical guy, right? So if it is a data loader, you have to install on your system. You have to tell him, boss, you have to generate a security token, username, password, enter it. I have to give all this stuff. But if it is an import wizard, if I'm not a Salesforce guy, I'm a clerk in the bank. I'm a clerk in the bank. I'm not a Salesforce guy. For me, if you tell me use a data loader, enter username, password, security token, then I cannot do all this stuff. It should be simple for me. Are you getting? So import wizard will be easy because it's a drag and drop model as a built-in. Whereas data loader, you have to externally insert it. And one more point is data loader will run only if Java is installed on your system. because data loader is a Spring application. You are not writing a Java program again. Right? So already application developed. It was developed on Java. It is a tool, and you have to install the Java on your system. Okay, right, boss? Are you getting my point? Because it's ETL. So that is the reason what I do. I'll go with import wizard. There's no need of doing anything. Simply click next text and do it. Now, how to install the Java? I'll give it. I'll give a video, or I'll give a session on that. 5 minutes of session. I hope you are good with this. So basically, what is the story today? Right, working with larger data. Till now you started working with one by one record. Now what we are saying is, instead of working with one by one record, work with bulk data. Work with bulk data. That was my requirement. I hope you are good. Clear, boss? So that's all from my end. See you all in the next session.